Greetings and a very good morning to you, Libra. Welcome to Wings of Libra, a place to rest your wings and uplift your spirit with guidance from the fairies. My name is KP. It's a blessing to be here with you. All right, let's fly right into our fairy wing reading for this morning. Fairies, who is with us right now? Who is with us, Libra people, right now? Who will carry us through today? What energies will be at our side throughout the day for all of us Libras? Oh, wow, okay. I think we have the entire reading here. I have a feeling like it's here. Okay. Okay. I feel okay. We'll just go with how this feels. Okay. Okay, wow. Yes, this is perfect. Thank you. Okay, so right away, we're being encouraged not to block this energy. This is a daughter of the moon, Laiste, or maybe it's Laiste. I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. So with this card, this is oftentimes the little calls or urges or impulses we might have to create, or whatever divine inspiration that we receive. She's kind of like the one putting the light down for us. If you can see, she has hooves and they're lit up. So she'll run ahead of us and leave a trail of hoofprints, and we can see each one as it's like presented before us, and then once we go there, then the next one is presented. So when this card is in the upright position, it's letting us know that we will be wise to continue listening to our dreams. We might be seeing certain symbols. Oftentimes fairies especially speak in symbols because they find that words are too limiting, and they can oftentimes send emotional responses via a symbol more effectively than they can using words or sometimes even numbers. Sometimes others speak in numbers, sometimes the fairies speak in numbers, but oftentimes, most times, the fairies speak in symbols. So when this card is reversed, though, it has several meanings. So, you'll have to just feel what applies to you in your particular situation. So some of us might be, as indicated here with it being upside down, some of us may have been experiencing anxiety or self-doubt. And from that place, maybe we were making or unintentionally calling accidents. Maybe we're finding we're a little more clumsy than we usually are or aren't. And that can just be a side effect of the shadow work that some of us have been doing. Because when change is happening, especially at a deeply unconscious level, there's disruptive energies that rise to the surface of consciousness. Because when we're occupied at these deep levels of change, sometimes our automatic coping mechanisms fail to work properly. You know, maybe we numb ourselves with a cigarette or something, and then now that we've been doing the shadow work, it's like, wait, that's not helping. Instead, I'm finding that as I'm smoking, I'm being more connected and I'm hearing more, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to hear that yet, because maybe I'm being encouraged to do something that I don't feel like I'm ready for yet, and on and on and on the might chatter might go on. And it's reminding us that the next step is going to be here. The next step may even be here. We may be just running around in a circle of self-doubt and anxiety that we might not see that the next step is here. This can also mean that she's working about with our spirit guides, our angels, our ancestors, There's been a lot of mention of ancestors throughout several different tarot readings as of late for Libra, which is very interesting. I mean, unless everyone's getting together and deciding what to talk about, I don't think so, because they're also shuffling the cards in live time. And so if the ancestors are popping up, the ancestors are popping up. Excuse me. This is reminding us that, yes, they're here. We don't have to worry. We can relax. This is acknowledging that we're going through many changes, and sometimes those changes might be uncomfortable. This can also indicate that sometimes some of us are unreasonably and unrealistically demanding superhuman perfection from others. And if that's where we are, straight up, her advice is don't. Just the simple one word, don't, with an exclamation point. Just stop. And she's also reminding us not to ignore our dreams, especially with symbols. We also are encouraged to be conscious of and willing to see when we see different omens or receive insights that are occurring at this deep level, that we would not be wise to deny them or block change. Sometimes we might receive a download that we're like, oh, that wasn't, a big thing. I'll just, keep going about my day, do. And yeah, it was a big thing. Your ancestor sent that to you, or you received that for a very particular reason that only you'll know. But if you're over there like busying yourself with work, I think it was from Gary's tarot for today, actually, where he called out some of the people who've been busying themselves with their work. And while that's great that we're working, we're moving forward, it's important to take some time to meditate and receive the messages and insights that we've been sent. Wow. Okay, so moving on to our wings, we have the Pook. I like to call this card Pook the Paradox, because this card is all about seeing everything as it is, seeing the good within the bad, seeing the bad within the good. And I'm feeling that this is here to help us with letting down a heavy load. Some of us might be carrying that 10 of Wands energy, where we're just carrying a huge heavy burden, maybe something in the past either resurfaced or has just been weighing down upon us continuously for however long. And it's not only time for us to let it go, it's been time for us to let it go, but we can be assisted through this time of letting go greatly if we allow ourselves to see the good within it. So maybe somebody really hurt one of us, or some of us, or however, maybe we got really hurt. But maybe we learned some things that we wouldn't have learned if this hadn't happened. Maybe there are things that we haven't seen that are good about this, believe it or not. There might be some of us that are going through situations that are so insanely disgusting that we might be having a hard time seeing the good in it. I don't mean to allow emotion into my voice. This is just feeling very strong. Some of us, wow. Who is this? Some of us have gone through something that really shook our world. And some of us are having a hard time seeing the good in it. What good could there be found? Some of us asked. This was horrible. Why did this happen? How could I have ignored this? How could I have not seen this coming? This is suggesting that maybe some of us have been in that energy, and that we can lay our wands down, lay that heavy burden down by allowing us to see the paradox, allowing ourselves to see the good in it, and by allowing ourselves to acknowledge where sometimes there are good things that have bad things. There is the light and the shadow, and the shadow and the light. This is reminding us of that. We have the Lady of the Harvest again. So I feel like, right here, this is in support of the paradox. Because the Lady of the Harvest is, yes, you've collected your harvest, it's time, but it's also time to let go. Maybe some of us have some really good memories, and then there's some really bad ones. And we're encouraged to accept all of them and release them. Don't let them hold us back. The Lady of the Harvest has an interesting expression on her face because she's relieved that her work is done, that her part in all of this is over. And at the same time, she looks sad. Like, okay, I see what all has happened. I've collected what I've collected. And now it's time for the other things to turn to mulch. At the same time, though, look, she knows that spring is coming. Winter might feel slow moving for a while, but she knows that spring is on the way. She's not worried. I just received somebody needs to cry. Somebody really needs to cry. Maybe that was why my voice started getting emotional. I'm not sure. I asked myself if that was myself, but I feel that while maybe a little bit, I've done a lot throughout my own personal shadow work. I feel like I might have picked up on somebody that needs to see this or will see this, and whoever you are, you've been carrying some major sadness. This is acknowledging that and reminding you to cry if you need to, and that while you're crying, if you have a moment of insight that makes you laugh, like, okay, so yeah, this happened and this is so awful, but hey, this, and then you laugh, awesome, that's perfect. The laughing, the crying, you might look hysterical. It's okay. It's safe to cry, to let it go. Wow. And we have the fairies of the future. Hey. So this is, I love seeing this card. This card is so full of movement. So you have the Gnome King on the lower left, and he's pointing the way, what way to go. He's giving her guidance. I believe her name is Anna. And she is stepping forward, holding the hazelnut of wisdom. And she is pregnant. She is pregnant with possibilities. And I think her name is Malthea, the fairy above her, above Anna, and she's looking forward, but look at her, she's ready to go. As soon as Anna lets her know where to go, Amalthea is heading out. She's gonna go forward and scout out what's coming ahead, get back to Anna, let her know. The Gnome King is behind her, letting her know what way to go. If you look at the very top, you'll see another gnome, and he's looking both ways, which might be hard for humans, but he can do it because he has that ability. And he knows exactly where we are and exactly where we've been and exactly where we're going at this current way that we're going. But even here, look, the fairies still take guidance from one another. They still help each other grow. So with this one, this is reminding us to be here now, be here in the present. Focus on what you are doing and ask yourself if it is something that is enabling you to propel yourself into the future, or if it's something that's keeping you in the present, or if it's something that's taking you back into the past, because the fairies of the future are here to emphasize, look forward. Let's move forward. We are seeing the good and the bad. We are seeing the next steps lit along the path. We're releasing the old. We're looking to the future. We're being guided. We're being pointed the way. And we have other help here ready to fly forward and make sure that the path ahead is prepared for us. I do want to read a little bit from the actual book of this oracle set, because it's actually one of the cards that has a little bit by Brian Froud, the artist of all of these. A lot of times the cards, the information in the book is written by Jessica Macbeth, but the ones by Brian I feel are directly tied in with the fairies, because I mean he's the illustrator, so I feel like sometimes he might have insights that Jessica wasn't able to receive, not because Jessica has anything going on with her, but rather that since he brought this forth, they might have been whispering to him while he was creating, if that makes sense. Like while he was painting, while he was sketching it out, they may have been giving him insights that they didn't give to Jessica because she didn't draw them out. She just wrote the descriptions of the cards and the meanings. So here Brian writes, "These are the fairies of a bright future and are essential companions on any journey. When these fairies appear, it is time to consider where we have been and where we wish to go. There are many opportunities, many potentials, but we must choose a path and then take realistic, practical steps to bring the desired future into being. This is not a time to wait for things to come to us, but to step forward boldly to meet them. We may do this alone if we wish, or in the company of those who share our goals and dreams." This is a really great card to have, especially when coupled with everything as we've seen here. This has been a really empowering reading so far. So some of us here might remember this from before. The Spirit Dancer. Spirit Dancer is back and was reversed because maybe some of us weren't allowing her energy to flow through us. Oftentimes, this can happen when we find ourselves maybe in an artist's block or writer's block or some sort of creativity block, or maybe we do different projects and we aren't sure what to do. This can happen. At its worst, if we have really blocked this energy, we might find ourselves acting out in self-absorbed or obsessive ways because the Spirit Dancer energy feels angry and driven and maybe unable to express her feelings in any way except destruction. And so this is a reminder, don't keep things bottled up because maybe you're expecting perfection of yourself, but to take steps. Even if the creation falls short of our goals, just do it. We can always go back later and fix it in a way that is more to our liking, but just getting started is a very important thing. I didn't mean for anyone to feel that maybe they weren't going in the right way by receiving so much of the raw energy lately, but if some of us have, that's just helping us to be mindful that we aren't using that raw energy to take us into things that aren't for our benefit. And if we were taking that energy or the reading too hard, we may have been blocking this, like thinking, oh, well, I need to do better, so I shouldn't get started. No, get started. And then learn what you can, get better at it, apply what you've learned, keep moving forward. This is suggesting that it's just a matter of priming the pump until the waters of creativity, emotion, and inspiration flow freely. So just getting started. For those of us who have maybe started and then stopped or haven't started at all yet, this is encouraging us to go forward. Here at the bottom of the deck, we have undressing of a salad, and it was in the reversed position. This card is oftentimes talking about balance, and being that it was reversed, it's acknowledging that, hey, sometimes imbalance happens. Maybe sometimes while we were feeling like we were in the dark or the wilderness, we let ourselves become unbalanced. This is just reminding us that we have the ability to bring things back into balance, and that sometimes we might have pushed ourselves out of balance if we were trying to over control a situation, or maybe a situation made us feel like we lost control and that made us feel out of balance. This is just calling us to acknowledge that it's okay to fall out of balance. It happens. As you can see, here we have, let's see here. So we have the fairy in the front with his back to us. He's juggling those balls. If you see the fairy to the left of him, he's looking in. He only has one ball. Looks like he's waiting for one of those balls to drop. Like he's waiting for this one to drop a ball so that he can play. But this one isn't worried about that. He knows that old balls wear out, and if he drops one, he'll receive a new one. And then he'll keep on going. He's not worried about losing one or all of them because he knows that he'll receive more. Okay. So this card is just acknowledging that sometimes chaos happens, and that's okay. After all, it's how this universe was formed, through chaos. Coming together. Okay, and we'll get an angel ancestor card today. Angels and ancestors, what do you have to add to the fairy reading for today? Angels and ancestors, what do we have to add to the fairy reading for Libras today? I feel like there's actually a lot they want to add, but they're not giving you just one. Oh, maybe so. The sea wolf. I think I'm gonna do another read right after this and just make another reading. It feels like the angels and ancestors want to talk to us, and they have more to say. This is saying to unleash the wild within. So this card is being encouraging us to go forward. Like if we've been holding back on our hopes or dreams, we're really being encouraged to go after them now, to let the wolf energy within us help us track down what direction we want to go in, and not to let any traps or hunters, dream hunters, get in our way or in the way of our freedom or growth. This is really encouraging us because it tells us straight up that the life we want is here. All right, so I'm going to clear this out, and then I'll post the angel and ancestors reading for later, because I felt it. It was like they weren't giving just one card right away, because it was like there's more that needs to be said here. When the one finally did come out, it's like, we'll start with this. So if you're interested, be on the lookout later today, because later today I'll post an angels and ancestors card to continue with this. All right, Libras, I hope that you were able to receive some guidance, some insights, some wisdom from the fairies today, from the angels and the ancestors. And as always, I wish you a very wonderful rest of your day.